the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars.
This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack, and joining us is a special guest, as always. We've got Rebecca Zung in the house, and she's the founder of the Slay Your Negotiation Method. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It is so great to be here and such an honor.
So, Slay Your Negotiations. What are we talking about? I know you have the Slay Method. What is it?
It is something that I created actually out of negotiating for many years in my law practice, and it is something that is easy for people to remember. It is because it's easy because obviously you're slaying your negotiation, but it's actually an acronym.
Okay.
Because it is strategy,
Okay.
which is something that everybody needs, obviously. Leverage, which is something that everybody thinks about when they think of, okay, I need leverage. But people think, oh, I need the leverage, but they think about leverage, but they forget about sometimes they need the strategy. You need the strategy first.
Strategy, leverage. What's the A?
A is anticipating what the other side is going to be doing and being 2 steps ahead of them.
Love it. And the Y?
Y is focusing on you, your case, your position. And I always say that, sometimes people are so focused on the other side. What are they doing? And I always say that even the best football teams, if all they have is a good defense, no one's scoring any points. You got to focus on your side. You have to have a good offense.
Okay, so the Slay Method, is this something that's really only going to be used in the courtroom, in business? Where is the Slay Method going to be most beneficial?
Anytime that you are negotiating, you are going to be using it. So, and you're negotiating really all the time. You're negotiating
with children, in business, with customers, with employees. We're always negotiating, if you want to look at it that way, yeah.
We are always negotiating, even in our personal lives.
Yeah.
Lately I've had a focus on narcissists. Because 16% of the population is narcissistic. And obviously, I came out of a legal background. I'm an attorney. And my entire focus as an attorney was focusing on high net worth clients. And obviously, when I was representing clients, I don't practice anymore, but when I was practicing, I was representing billionaires, celebrities, and probably a narcissist or two slipped in there.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So, so in my law practice, I was dealing with them as well. But, even regardless of whether you're divorcing them or you're dealing with them in your personal life, your family life, or whatever, sometimes it's even when you wake up in the morning and you're negotiating with yourself for your own self-worth sometimes. You're negotiating all day long.
Yeah,
and so
that's powerful.
The Slay Method is something you can use all the time.
So 16% of the population is a narcissist, but let's come up with just clarity so we're all in alignment. What is, in the most simple terms, what is a narcissist? Just so everybody's on the same page for the interview.
So a narcissist, I look at it as kind of a continuum or a spectrum.
Okay. There's levels to the narcissist game?
Yeah, and they say 16% is either narcissistic or has narcissistic traits, tendencies, or maybe just doesn't have a conscience. And so I think it's kind of a spectrum. All people want to feel seen, heard, and know that they matter.
But there's levels to it.
Yeah, that just, if you want to feel seen, heard, and know that you matter, that just makes you a human being. That doesn't make you a narcissist. That makes you a human.
I think a great example would be the Devil Wears Prada, the lady who's like the main lady in that. Also, if you've seen the Disney show, the Disney movie, the new one that just came out, Cruella.
Oh.
The lady in that is like the definition of a narcissist.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but
she would be like, for example, she'd be like, cheers to me. But it was just like so many examples like that. It was like everything was
could
about
be.
her and how she's a genius and she's the best. And
Yeah.
like one of her employees would create something.
Only thinking about it themselves.
Yeah, an
yes.
employee of hers would create something amazing, and she'd be like,
Taking
I
credit
did it
for it.
again.
I take
And
credit for it. Yes, totally, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, taking credit for it.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and so but there are different types of narcissists too, because like covert narcissists. But
you got like a whole playbook.
Oh yeah. So, but they only think about themselves. They have no inner sense of value. They're the most insecure people on the planet. They have no inner sense of value. Something happened to them in their childhood that caused them to feel like the world is an unsafe place. So they just have no inner sense of value. So they feel like they have to get all of their sense of value from external sources.
Got it.
And so the way I look at it, and that's called narcissistic supply, that value that they try to layer on from external sources. But I've kind of looked at it from different levels. So there's like what I call the diamond outer source of supply, diamond level supply, which is what everybody thinks of as far as value, which is the big house, the big cars, the prestigious job, the adulation, the compliments, the look at me, I'm so great.
Yeah.
That's what most people think of when they think of that value.
Okay.
But then
so it doesn't sound too bad to be a narcissist when you explain it that way.
Right. But yeah, exactly. But then there's what I call the dark underbelly side of it, which is the devaluing, the debasing, the diminishing people, the control, the treating people poorly, the trying to make themselves feel better by treating people badly.
It sounds like that stigma of like the knee-jerk reaction of, oh, rich people are jerks. That kind of like quick jump of like, oh, if they're successful and they're rich, then they must be a pompous jerk or something, or a narcissist.
Well, I mean, but there's that side of it too. And so they have no ability to have any feeling of care or empathy for other people.
I want to make a bridge here real quick. Why does it seem that it sounds like not all, but a good amount of narcissists are very successful?
Well, I mean, I guess
is that a leap to make, or is that that seems pretty common?
I mean, obviously that's a huge leap,
Right.
But
not everybody falls under that category.
No, of course, but there are some people who, on their way to the top, they just step on people and they don't care who they're stepping on, and they don't care what havoc they wreak on their way up,
Yeah.
right? So I guess it's possible, but the bottom line is these are people who don't have any sense of care or empathy for others, and they're trying to get any sense of feeling of value for themselves by layering it on from the external sources.
So if people are listening right now and they're like, I think I have a narcissist in my life, or I know I have a narcissist in my life, maybe it's a close friend or relative or family member or a colleague or a boss, what are some of the steps that they can do to try to, I guess, I don't know if deal with is the right word, deal with the person, to negotiate with the person, to evolve the relationship, to get out of it? What is your advice?
Oh,
if somebody's
goodness.
like, I'm with a narcissist, either in my career, my family, my friend.
Gosh,
You're the pro on the subject. So.
There's so many layers to that.
Yeah, there's so many different contexts.
To that question.
Right.
I mean, I would say the first step is to probably try to get out of that relationship. I mean, create some major boundaries for themselves. I mean, so when you're trying to communicate with them, you're definitely going to want to create some major boundaries. Try to have some sense of control, because they've started conditioning you right from the beginning. And so, you are a source of supply for them, and so they've started conditioning you right from the beginning. So the first thing you're going to want to do is start to create some boundaries in that relationship and start to get out of that relationship. That's the first negotiation that you're going to have to do, period.
So first, recognize you're dealing with a narcissist.
Right.
And then try to distance yourself and negotiate your way, I guess, out of that relationship.
Negotiate your way out of that relationship, absolutely. But the bottom line is that there's a huge myth, and that is that, these narcissists are all powerful and that they're super smart and that you can never win and that there's no point in trying to negotiate with them at all. Well, that's just simply not true. You absolutely can win. And the whole thing is that narcissists are actually way more afraid of you than you are of them. They are actually the most scared little people on the planet inside. They just hope that you never figure that out. I always think of it as like the Wizard of Oz, actually. You know how the Wizard of Oz, by the time they got there, he had layered on all this huge thing. Oz, it looked like big and grand, and he had this massive, huge thing. And they get there, and he's got this big talking head thing, and he seems so great and powerful. And then they look behind the curtain, and it's this feeble little man, and he's like all scared. That's basically the narcissist.
Okay.
And so that's what's really going on. And they actually figured out, oh, I'm actually the more powerful one here. I'm actually the one that's smarter. That's what actually happens in a negotiation with a narcissist.
Okay, so I want to talk more about that in a minute and how to proceed with the next steps in the process. But how did you get into this space? You've got a law background, and somehow you ended up into the being known as like the narcissist queen. You're somebody who helps a ton of people. Your online presence is blowing up. A ton of people are following you for this. How did you make the jump from being an attorney to having this massive online presence? Helping people with dealing with narcissists?
Yeah. I mean, I think what people should know is that I didn't start out like this. I mean, and I tell people all the time, I got married at 19 the first time. I got divorced. I dropped out of college. I went back to college. I went to law school. I got married again. I have another child with my husband. I've been married a long time now. But, then I left my law practice. I'm still a partner at a law firm, but I started another business, and I was doing all these other things, and I realized at some point that my husband and I had a family member that is a covert narcissist, and
a covert narcissist is what?
A person who is not as obvious as a narcissist. So here's the thing. I thought that a narcissist was always a male, number one.
Throw the men under the bus.
Yeah. I thought it was always a male and always this big loudmouth person.
Okay.
And that's not the case.
It can be a wolf in sheep's clothing.
A wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay. And I also ended up having a situation myself where I had a small entrepreneurial situation where I had a business with a female narcissist, covert narcissist, and didn't realize it until somebody pointed out to me that this is a covert narcissist. And it was one of the worst, most horrible, heinous experiences of my life. And I thought, oh my gosh. I started reading everything I could about it. I started delving into everything narcissism. Here I had been speaking all over about negotiation for years and years and years. I had been the keynote speaker at the American Bar Association on negotiation. I'd been lecturing about negotiation for many years. I had been representing all these billionaires and celebrities. I mean, I knew about negotiation, but it wasn't until I really started learning about narcissism that I started thinking, oh, I could apply what I'm learning about narcissism to what I already know about negotiation. And that's when I actually started seeing movement in my cases. And that's when I started actually teaching people about how to negotiate with narcissists. And that's when it all started to come together for me.
That's crazy.
And for millions of people.
Right, that see your stuff online, which is
yes.
amazing. So what's worse then? Is it a covert narcissist that's worse than just your blatant, obvious narcissist that you right off the bat know, okay, I'm dealing with this person, here's how I'm at least aware of it and I can avoid it? The covert sounds like it might be worse.
Oh, for me, I think the covert narcissist is worse because the rest of the world thinks that they are wonderful.
And you're like, they're not. And they're like, well, I don't experience the same thing.
And the things that they do are so small and so slight. They always have this plausible deniability. And then when you go to tell people the things that they're doing, people are like, oh, well, that must have been inadvertent.
Yeah.
Because
That had to be by accident. That doesn't sound like them.
Yeah, they're so nice.
Meanwhile, they're like plotting their next move.
Yes, exactly. And you think, oh my God. And well, that can't, I mean, please. And that doesn't sound so bad, really. And literally you start to think you must be going crazy. I mean, yeah.
That definitely sounds like the worst option.
The worst.
Well, is there ways to identify those covert narcissists, I guess?
Yeah.
It sounds like you would have avoided one of your biggest, most painful, business fallouts.
Yeah. I mean, the things that they do are very, very passive aggressive. I mean, you start to see the red flags like almost right away.
Okay.
I mean, they're doing these passive aggressive things almost immediately. And when you start to see those red flags, you need to heed them.
So is this one of those things where you just cut the tie immediately? You don't try to like sit down and talk through and better understand how you can work through the process? This is just like, they're just dead to you at that point. It's like, this person can't possibly be dealt with if they're a covert narcissist.
What happens with people is we start to explain it away. We start to defend them. Well, it's probably because they had a bad day, or they're going through a lot in their life right now, or they meant to get back to me, or they didn't mean it that way, or
you probably saw a lot of this with divorce, and on the attorney side, you saw a lot of this, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so you start to make excuses for them. When you start to find yourself doing that, think about it.
Yeah.
I go with the Maya Angelou. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
I love that one. So I think you said something that was really powerful in the beginning. I want to bring it back and spotlight it, which is sometimes the biggest negotiation we have to deal with is ourselves. When we look in the mirror, the stories we convince ourselves, be it I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, low self-confidence. And I think right now we live in a crazy world where so many people are dealing with those types of emotions and thoughts and telling themselves limiting stories. Do you have any advice for people out there who are maybe can relate to that, what we're talking about here?
Oh, totally. And especially, I think, when you're dealing with narcissists, I know for me, they get into your head and it starts to spin around. And I know for me, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I was thinking about it, and I'd wake up in the morning and I was thinking about it, and it just is going on in your head all the time. And
which is depleting your energy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And so, I have this mantra that, I never leave my thoughts unsupervised. They're not allowed to be unsupervised. And so I'm really, really attuned to my energy. I know that I am a being of energy. My thoughts are energy. And we are all beings of energy. Your energy, the table is energy. Everything is energy. And so you have to be really, really attuned to that. And so I'm really, really vigilant about what my input is, because I know what my input creates my output. So first thing in the morning, I'm always really careful about, what my thoughts are, my energy, and I'm always listening to good audiobooks, good podcasts, good YouTube videos, whatever it is that I need to listen to keep my energy level super high. The Bob Proctors of the world, the good people who I know are going to keep me inspired, keep me so that my energy level is super high. And I'm also really careful about who I keep around me, who I allow in my space, who I allow, are they fanning my flames, or are they dousing my fire? Are my best friends, the people who are allowed in my space all the time, those are really people that I choose carefully now. I think that is super, super important. as far as keeping your thoughts where they need to be.
So it sounds like creating habits and an environment that you can make sure I'm not going to let all of the external stuff start to influence me, be it the narcissist, be it the news, be it social media. You have to be actually vigilant and focused in making sure you're protecting your mental, your inputs and your outputs, as you referred to it. Listen to more positive stuff, follow more positive people, unfollow and unsubscribe from the negative stuff, turn off the negative news, hang out with more positive people. Is that what you're saying, it sounds like?
Absolutely. It's moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. I mean, I can tell you that when I was dealing with that one particular covert narcissist in a business situation for me, I had this aha moment when I was on vacation with my family, and I was on the top of this beautiful, beautiful mountain, and I was with my husband and my daughter, and I had this thought about this covert narcissist, and I thought, oh, no, you don't get to be here with me. And it was in that moment, that inspiring moment, that I realized I had a choice. I had a choice in that moment about what my thoughts get to be. And I came down from that mountain, and I realized in that moment that I was no longer going to be in relationship with that person. And at that moment, I decided I was going to finish my negotiation book. And I finished Negotiate Like You Matter, and I sent it out for testimonials. And magic started to happen at that time, because I sent it out to many different people, but one of the people I sent it out to was Robert Shapiro, and I didn't even know him. And he immediately wrote me back and said, call me. And I called him, and he actually offered to write the foreword for my book.
Wow.
And which he ended up doing. So,
amazing.
And from there, then I started my YouTube channel, and all these things. Magic has happened since then, because I've been moment by moment choosing creative thoughts instead of victim thoughts. So you really have a choice moment by moment about being a victim or being creative. And so keeping your thought energy high is super, super important.
I love what you said, because I felt that too when you're like on vacation and you have that thought, and it's like, no, you don't get to be here on vacation taking up my mental space with my family. And I love that you made it clear. I get to choose that what is going to be my thoughts and my feelings and what is not. And it's a conscious choice. It's not like, oh, I can't stop thinking about it. It's like, you get to decide. So I think that's a really powerful takeaway for everybody. One of the things that I'm curious is why do you think you've just been on a rocket ship on social media and on YouTube specifically, just blowing up? Why do you think so many people resonate with this message of negotiating with narcissists and slaying the narcissists in our lives?
I think, number one, because there are so many. I mean...
Yeah, 1 out of 6, apparently.
1 out of 6. And if each one of those people narcissistically abuses 5 people in their lifetimes, that's 3.4 billion people on the planet. So that's really literally everybody. And I am the only attorney on the planet who is teaching people how to negotiate with narcissists.
At least at the level you're doing it is just insane. You're putting out videos how often now?
Every single day.
Wow.
and I'm giving people real concrete tips and tricks, things that they can actually use, resources that are actually things that are takeaways that they can say, you know what, I just watched this video, this is something I can use today. This is something I can actually put into my life today, and actually this will help me.
What is one of the biggest things that you feel like is maybe your most popular video or training online that people are just like, boom, that's something I can apply right now in my life? And I know it can be specific for divorce or for business or for relationships, whatever it may be. Can you think of what that one is? The most popular? I
think that there are so many, but one of the things that I know that I give that people like is something that I call tactical responses. So, when a narcissist writes a massively huge, long email or text, which is something that they love to do, and tells, vomits on them about how horrible they are, and what they do is they're trying to like trigger you. They're trying to, which is what they try to do. And you feel this need to defend yourself. You want to come back point by point by point. You think that I'm this, you think that I'm that, I'm not this,
Yeah,
I'm
the
not
perfect
that.
rebuttal.
Yes, exactly. And so what I teach people how to do is respond tactically and say, I am in receipt of your email, I deny your allegations, and then just respond to the one or two things in there that you absolutely have to respond to. And you can pick up Johnny at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. So that all you have done is just, I'm in receipt of it, I deny it, and then respond to the only thing that you have to respond to.
Such an attorney of you to provide that advice.
Exactly. So that, that's it.
I love that. And so some simple practices that we can do just in general to level up. Like you said, you've got this great routine of things that you practice to have positive energy. Everything is about energy. And if you have the right inputs flowing in and you are vibrating at a higher level and doing all the right things, you're going to just live a better life, and you're probably going to repel away a lot of these narcissists. What are some of those simple little daily habits? You were mentioning some of them earlier. I think I want to put a bow on that, because that way people leave with some daily simple things they can do to just have a better energy and vibration, which will help them in all areas of their life.
Oh, well, one of the things I do religiously every single day is I write 10 things that I'm grateful for first thing in the morning before I start anything else in my day. And that is straight from Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
I literally, before I do anything else, I write 10 things I'm grateful for every single morning.
I love it. And it's one of those cliche things that sometimes people hear and they're like, I'm not actually going to do that. Sounds great. But mine, I used to do the writing it down. And then I made excuses about why I didn't need to do that anymore. And then I realized I just needed to find a different way. And so for me, mine is every time I go outside, I say 10 things I'm grateful for. And so I love that one for people that are listening. It's like, it is so simple, but it does make you feel so good. What's another one?
Well, the other thing that I do every single morning is I have a little index card of my intent of what I want to actually create, and I actually speak it out loud every single day. I have it written down, but I actually speak it out loud every single day as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Something that you said that I thought was inspiring earlier before the cameras were on is we were talking about goals, and you were like, no, I don't have goals. I just have outcomes that I know are going to happen. For people who don't have that type of a mindset, how did you cultivate that as one of our final points? Is like, just shows the conviction that you have, that like, I'm going to achieve everything that I put my mind to. I think so many people, unfortunately, don't have that level of conviction and confidence in themselves to know they're going to achieve whatever they set their mind to. How did you develop that, and what can people take away so that they can start to have that same confidence as you?
I think that the way that you language is really, really important. And using, you said goals. Mm-hmm. I don't like the word goals because it's something that you're never going to attain. And so I think that...
It's like, I hope I achieve this.
Yes. And so I think that becoming really aware of the words that you're using is really, really important. So using words like I hope, I'm going to try, I think I can, I don't like those kinds of words.
Yeah,
because
they're limiting.
They're not execution words. And I really, truly believe, and this is something that I say all the time, and I actually just lectured, I was the keynote speaker at the 7-figure women's event in Sedona a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that I said to these women was, I truly believe that the difference between being successful and not being successful is one word, and that is execution.
Powerful.
Yeah. And that is absolutely the truth. I mean, there's so many people that say, well, I'm going to try to do this. Well, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to, And if you don't hold yourself to account, even of the smallest things, like, and this is something that's really silly, but like if you say, I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you hit the snooze alarm like 40 times. You're not holding yourself to account for getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. If you're not going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, then don't don't set the alarm for 6 o'clock in the
Like
morning.
when you break those little promises to yourself,
Yes.
then it starts to, I guess, kind of reinforce and make cracks in your own identity. You're like, I'm not really the kind of person who does what I said I'm going to do.
Correct. So, hold yourself to account for things that you're making promises to yourself for. I mean, even, if it's something small, I'm going to walk 1,000 steps a day, and then hold yourself to account for that, and then do it. Because once you start, keeping promises to yourself, it'll make a big, huge difference for yourself. It really will. I mean,
I love
even
that.
just like something small.
Yeah, it's like the little examples, again, to use Bob or whoever said this. It's like making a 1% improvement every day, and that 1% should be holding yourself accountable to those little commitments that you make is going to build your character. So always inspiring with Rebecca. So you have this just amazing YouTube channel. Where can people follow you to be inspired and to continue to learn these amazing tips?
Oh, thank you. I honestly, if you type in negotiate with a narcissist, you will most certainly find me.
your viral videos you've got there.
But my name, Rebecca Zung, for sure, you will find me there on YouTube. And I also have a free gift for anyone who wants to just get started with any kind of negotiation. It is my free Crush My Negotiation Prep Worksheet. It is 15 pages. It's an ebook. It is totally free. It is really amazing. I've had people who've told me they have won their entire negotiations just with my free ebook.
Wow.
And you can get that at winmynegotiation.com.
Love it. Rebecca, appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. You rock. You are Mozart of personal branding. You are amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You're a business rock star. And for people who want to watch more amazing episodes and interviews like this, head over to businessrockstars.com.